Steel blades slid back through shattered bone and burned flesh, releasing the impaled cadaver into the air as the Raven Guard swiftly retired his claws. The conclusion to a 2-year mission was rather monotonous to his taste, almost disappointing if it was not for his stoic character. His captain has sent him once again to assassinate the head of a cartel, this time a worm trading fraternity, extremely successful in the outer regions of the Ultima Segmentum. The obscenely lucrative trade has created a fertile ground for bribery and corruption among imperial officials. Whether the destruction of the fraternity will stop the now tentacular trade blighting the Segmentum, Thale had his doubts. His thoughts were interrupted by an internal vox. "Stealth to Vulture, do you copy?" Thale took a deep breath, then responded. "Vulture here, confirming the target is down." He then took off his white-painted helm. It has been days since he last did, and the smell of burned flesh and breastplate metal from the still reeking corpse made him realize he probably should have waited a little longer for the breather. The rest of the kill team did not linger far behind before joining him. A sniper, a saboteur, and 2 scouts. All from the 10th, all left behind, but with enough distance to learn from their veteran. They congratulated him, and he thanked them in return. He could not wait to finally return to the peace of his room in the spaceship, lost again in the vastness among the stars. The death of previous squad members, coupled with decades of lone operations, have exacerbated his introverted character and made it difficult for him to team up in such assassination missions. As a veteran, he is meant to teach the new bloods, but what he is additionally and unofficially tasked with is their protection. Such was the unspoken custom in a chapter with humble numbers of Marines as the Raven Guard, and this makes a hard mission such as this one even harder for veterans like him. But tonight, he will get to rest after a 2 years' labor. Armor removed, he lit a candle and sat meditating in his room, praying to the Emperor and the Primarch alternatively. When he was done, he took his old knife and started carving his unfinished wooden totem pole. Although lacking in skill, he already managed the face of 2 ravens at the top, the face of Korax, and he started with the Master of Shadows next. His prompter, lit green all of a sudden, displayed an instruction to head to the astropathic chamber. A message from his captain, and for his eyes only it turned out. The decrypted message spoke about an old secret, shared among very few in the chapter. The Raven Guard were always told that Korax delivered the Emperor's mercy to those sons of his with genes corrupted in the aftermath of the betrayal, to put them out of their mutation-induced pain. What was revealed to Thale tonight is that some of them survived. Suspecting an eventual purge of their brethren at the hand of the Primarch, some Marines managed to get their mutated brethren to safety on secret, lost planets. Often the mutated were old family members, or even previous progeny of these Marines, who in often cases still sustained the hope to find a cure for the affliction. While the traitor attack on Terra and the war in the Segmentum Solar were raging, they succeeded to smuggle the cursed ravens to locations farther than anyone thought possible, even for the Masters of Shadows as skilled as the Raven Guard. No records of these locations were ever made. Only those Marines confessing on deathbeds have been sharing the secret details, asking their commanders or squad fellows to check on their relatives, or asking for a promise to protect them. And in turn, long after their death, most names of these planets were lost to time and generations of Raven Guards. Only vague whispers of systems and segments remaining. The Master of Shadows himself, Thale was further told, took it upon himself to finish the Primarch's merciful job and relieve the cursed brethren from the long-lived agony they endured. For all their genetic dysfunctions, the cursed could surprisingly live for a very, very long time. But in this segmentum, all of them were slain but one, his captain said. At least based on all the passed-on confessions and information the Ravenspire has. On the edge of Segmentum Ultima, The planet where the last cursed is believed to live was previously purged by an exterminatus in the Great Crusade, but has recovered since. Not much to go on, Thale thought, as there are hundreds of worlds that fit the description, some of which are giants that would take lifetimes to search. But there was one more detail his captain shared at the end of his message. The now deceased Raven brother who spoke of this jungle world left the coordinates to a location marked with a totem pole, near which the cursed marine was left. The Master of Shadows tried other locations but were unsuccessful. This part of the segmentum was, however, never investigated. As Thale's ship approached a planet that fits the description, the captain was asked to send him to investigate in light of his rank and seniority. As a precaution, he was asked to take the scouts with him for backup. He thought of them as a liability, if anything. Armor on, the squad gathered for a briefing in the command room. An alien beast to slay was the only detail Thale was allowed to share with them. The planetary coordinates he communicated to the crew hours prior showed a large pyramidal structure, the semblant of a temple or a fortified castle. No totem pole, at least not visible from orbit. The orbital reconnaissance they conducted also revealed that the jungle world was inhabited, but at such a distance, on the fringes of the Imperium. The archaic technology at display showed a regression. The settlers that came to populate the world post-exterminatus were probably cut off from the Imperium at some point long ago. In all cases, no threat to the squad, boasted the commander. Boarding a gunship that brought them to the location, the squad hovered on top of the pyramid with their jump packs. From the dwelling at the summit appeared a seemingly shaman figure who kneeled and lifted his hands in wonder. "Are you gods? Did you come to save us?" he uttered in shock. The language he spoke accentuated but comprehensible, slightly changed through the ages. Meanwhile, other locals, gathering at the base of the pyramid, began prostrating in adoration. The sight of 5 flying men hopping from a ship might have been an unfathomable heavenly sight to them, Thale thought. Thanded, he approached the shaman and signaled to one of the scouts to show him a hologram of a totem pole from the tech slate he carried. "Greetings. We are looking for something similar to this," Thale asked in a reassuring tone. The priest, eyes wide open and fixated on the technological miracle that was the hologram, responded, "Yes, the sacred pillar. I can guide you. Did you come to deliver us from the beast?" At that precise moment, Thale knew they were on the right planet. He asked nonetheless, "What beast?" To which the shaman replied, "The immortal beast. God curse for all our sins. As atonement, only human souls to satiate its hunger and appease it we must, through sacrifice. On, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, it feasts." Intrigued, Thale asked him to show the way. The priest and 9 of his warriors directed the squad of Marines to the wooden pole. As it stood, distinguishable among the tree line from afar, the art on the totem pole reminded him of resembling patterns of old he had seen before on Deliverance. But as they arrived to its base, a woman, head-shaven and chained to the pole, started shouting for help as soon as she saw the shaman. In a sad tone, he addressed Thale. He explained that she was today's offering. Displeased, one of the Raven scouts went to free the woman. Relieved to ecstatic heights, she kissed the scout's hand, while the priest ordered her to return home. He then pointed to a cave not far from where the pole stood and addressed Thale. "There lives the beast of our calamity." The veteran Raven rechecked his gear, his claws. "You're coming with us, all of you," he informed the shaman. Alarmed, the shaman removed his plumed hat and tried to resist the order. "Mere mortals that we are, what help could we be against a god of darkness?" Thale, pointing his claws at the priest. "Our company or dead where you stand. Your choice." Paces into the cavern, a howl was heard, its echoes frightening and sharp, as if ordering the intruders to halt their trespassing. It made the group of local falling to their knees in prayer, while Thale ordered the rest of the squad. "I am going in with the priest. You stay here with the others." He then dragged the shaman, who was wailing at this point, and disappeared into the darkness of the long tunnel ahead. More frequent, the howls of the monster and their echoes seemed to distort the air and the gravity in the cave, cutting communication to the rest of the squad. But as the ground began to shook, the panicked priest tried to flee, and as Thale went after him, he heard hooves pounding the ground behind him. The veterans swiftly turned to meet the hurling monstrosity with its claws, and the clash produced a blast, sending each opponent backwards. As it finally stood recognizable, Thale could see what it became of the cursed raven. A large crow-shaped head was madly staring at him, while two other rostrate humanoid heads with teethed beaks were attached to where shoulders should have been. A collection of moving tentacles served as his left arm, while his right displayed 3 bony claws at its extremity, a deformity of what his lightning claws probably once were. Both Thale and the cursed raven knew that a claw fight is a short fight. As they run at each other, the jump pack of the veteran ignited and sent him whirling towards his enemy. The giant spinning steel fan he became tore through the tentacular arm and chopped the left head of the monster off. As the now kneeling two-headed beast was agonizing in pain, Thale approached, ready to read his catechism before dealing a final blow. He was startled by the regrowth of tentacles, as well as a sprouting head replacing the one he took. The beast surprisingly attacked him, and as he was fending off the attack with both hands, he suddenly felt a blade piercing his lower back from the right side. As he tilted his head to see who was the assailant, he saw the priest extending his hands in a prolongation of a piercing lance, grinning, his eyes defiant. It was at that moment that Thale's strength failed him as he fell unconscious. When he woke up, there was only darkness. In concert, the united voices of the priest and the beast echoed through what seemed an infinite space. "I see through you, Raven." To the sound of their voice, 1,000 light-projecting eyes illuminated the surreal space all around. At its center, the Marine was held by strings attached to both his arms and legs on one hand, and suspended to the infinite dark on the other. He prayed to the Emperor and the Primarch in fear. "Your false gods have no sway here," laughed the amalgamation of voices, the beast and the shaman nowhere to see. For what it seemed an eternity, Thale was tortured with visions from the betrayal at Istvan, the pain of the guilty Primarch killing his cursed sons, the suffering of the cursed beast for millennia, the death of his squad brothers, as well as 1,000 nightmarish visions. No longer holding to any notion of time and space, and as he felt his sanity departing him, he desperately called on his father a last time. A last prayer. Then, there was silence for a while. The voices had stopped, and so the visions, as a giant shadow of a wing, engulfed the world around him and beyond. In its grip, there was only darkness, but also peace. A peace that was abruptly broken with the sound of bolter fire, waking him up to a new reality. As he began to stand up, he saw the sniper taking 2 successful headshots on the shaman, while the rest of the squad emptied their magazines into the disintegrating beast. The squad then rushed to Thale's help, and when he asked how they found him, they recounted that they first had to kill the warriors who turned against them, then went down the tunnel after him. Out of nowhere, the shaman, the beast, and himself suddenly appeared to the squad, they added. Thale owed them his life, he thought, but restrained from telling them so. As he was escorted out of the cave, he turned back for a last look at the slain beast that was once a brother. All he could see were giant feathers, black as night where he stood before, and blue ones where the beast and the shaman were slain. As if a most ferocious battle between 2 giant clawed raptors took place prior. Out of the cave, one of the squad members asked the veteran if it would be wiser to initiate an extraction now and deal with the question of the local population later. Thale took to silence for a while as the waiting squad stood before him. Then, jump pack on, swept over his squad mates, lightning claws blazing. Their decapitated heads, propelled by the thrust of his forward jump, fell at Thale's feet when he landed. He delicately gathered them and placed the collection at the base of the totem pole. On each he left a feather and stood up with a murmur. "I have seen your fate when it was woven, brothers." I hope you enjoyed this tale from the sealed archives of the Ravenspire on Chapter Veterans. If you did, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Support of this kind for smaller channels such as this one, as well as other creatives who enable genuine fan-made storytelling, can go a long way in helping to produce further videos.